Coach, how you doing, Coach? Coach, I'll die for you, Coach. I just want you to believe in me. I just want you to believe in me. Let's go to the Lions.
And they basically told me if I'm there, it's a possibility they're going to take me. So I had my phone right next to me, ringer on all the way up. Kept checking it, I was nervous, but when I got that call, it was just, I don't even know how to describe it, the feeling.
The Lions take one of my favorite players in this draft class, Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas. I'm giving this an A+. Almost 6'4", 214 pounds, ran a 4.43 at the combine.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, Lions Talk Live. You know what? It is officially now cut down day. Later today, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have some final answers. Who's going to be on the 53? Who are we going to speculate are going to be brought on back for the practice squad? And what does this all mean for the roster going forward into the regular season? There were some surprise moves, I think it'd be fair to say, yesterday with the cutdowns. Dan Skipper, not probably many of us saw that coming. Jackson Meeks, Ian Kennelly, could they be brought to the practice squad? Will somebody else grab them? We'll dive into all that, but as you can probably tell from today's thumbnail, I think it's a little bit of a shock that so many edge rushers were cut yesterday from the Detroit Lions. And I know the rumor mill's speculating that all of this is pointing towards a return for Zadarius Smith. We're going to dive into this during the main topic of the day and Scooby-Doo it from two different perspectives. One, Smith may be returning. Two, the Lions may just have their answers in-house, how they're going to get more pressure on the opposing quarterback, and it may not be exactly how we're all anticipating. Again, we'll get into that momentarily during the main topic of the day. Before we get into that, though, before we get into the 5 headlines now and everything in between, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We are 41 subs away from hitting 14,300. If you can help out with that, I would be very thankful. Also, if you have a half second of time, it's free of charge, doesn't cost you anything. Reach on down, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but most certainly never least, if you are considering buying or selling property anywhere in the United States of America, let alone Michigan where I reside, go ahead and give me a call or shoot me a text. I know in the last week a lot of you have. 269-998-2384. We can have a conversation, see how I use over 30 years in the industry, save you time, save you money, etc., etc. All that done, set out of the way, though, let's get the show rocking and rolling. I think we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Hey, it's almost like Christmas. It's almost like, waiting to see what's going to be under the tree. We're going to see later on today who is and who is not a Detroit Lion. Give it about the day after that, and we'll see who's going to be returning the Lions. With all that said, let's kick it off with 5 headlines now. All right, 5 glorious headlines coming at you. 1, 2, 3. Proposed Lions trade gets a defender held back by coaching changes. Fan side story by Joe Summers. I didn't really want to go into this because there were a bunch of headlines yesterday. I could have even went with the main topic of the day being a report out there. Lions might be shopping Alex Anzalone. I couldn't get that cooperated anywhere, nor would it make sense to me. But there is a report, just so you guys know, floating around that the Lions are potentially looking to move on from Alex Anzalone. I really don't see that happening, but been wrong before. Projected trade involves an edge rusher. We were just talking about the Lions got rid of a bunch of them. No, this isn't a Trey Hendrickson or Lawrence Taylor or whoever else, some big name person coming back. But the projected trade does see Efrain Jennings and a 7th round pick going to the New England Patriots for this particular guy. Bring him on over. Lions would also get a 6th round pick back, if I understand it all correctly. Now, some of this is the guy's got a lot of potential, a lot of upside, needs more development, but he's kind of fallen out of favor with Gerard Mayo and then Mike Vrabel, etc. Some of the coaching changes there. Could you bring him in? Would he add some athleticism? Would he add some size? I think that's all debatable whether or not he'd be any kind of upgrade for us. But this rumor has a little bit more validity today, or at least want to pay attention to it with from the sidelines with an eyebrow up there, just because of the moves the Lions did make yesterday. A lot of people felt that Nate Lynn was safe, good to go, because he had performed incredibly well in preseason. Apparently, the Lions coaching staff said, nah, while you did well, we didn't see enough, along with Mitchell Gouye and others. You guys get it. Lions have definitely got to have something up their sleeve when it comes to the edge rusher position. Again, we'll dive into that more in depthly. I'll try to give you some coaching thoughts here during the main top of the day. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Another head scratcher yesterday. We talked about it briefly in the opening mantra. Talked about it yesterday in a separate video once that happened, but Dan Skipper was cut from the team, and Dan Skipper's next team after being cut by Lions is painfully obvious, says Fanside. Story by Candace Pereira's. Candace Pereira's might not be wrong with this. This story is centered around Skipper taking his offensive weaponry to the Chicago Bears. It would make a lot of sense. He knows Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson knows him. How long would it really take to get him up to speed in Chicago? Probably not very long, maybe a couple days at best. With that being said, it's my full anticipation if Skipper doesn't sign with the Chicago Bears, he's probably coming back to Detroit on the practice squad. Let's take a moment of pause when we look at all the cuts, either yesterday or the ones that will come out today. And remember one thing, part of it is the Lions are going to make cuts, and some of those cuts are going to be like, do we feel there's a high probability anybody's going to claim this guy? If we don't feel like that, then we can resign the practice squad. We can move them up for X amount of games. We can even protect 4 players on the practice squad from being poached. And I do think Dan Skipper fits a lot of that, why you would cut him, knowing you could bring him back. Probably even had some kind of conversations with him about that just to see if they could talk to him and say, hey, we're going to cut you. You're probably going to clear waivers. We're bringing it back. Don't worry about packing up your bags and moving. Skipper is a big part of this. Now, all that being said, before the preseason even started, when you guys asked me for initial 53-man cutdown, I did not have Dan Skipper on it. I just thought you're getting too much value out of Giovanni Manu. He can be basically a backup tackle, maybe, if need be, a third-string tight end, run blocker, etc., because that's a lot of what Skipper does. Now, Manu's had some ups and some downs in preseason. Could it be that the Lions just simply looked at that position and said, hey, there's not a big difference between Skipper and Manu? That is possible. Another thing a lot of you guys pointed out when messaging yesterday, or, I think yesterday on the 2 extra videos we did yesterday with the cuts, people were pointing out, man, it seems like the Lions are trying to get rid of some salary cap. Is that an indication they're trying to go get a veteran player? Maybe an edge rusher like Za'Darius? We'll have to wait and see. All right, next to the 5 headlines out, Detroit Lions 2025 win total odds. Why over 10.5 wins is the smart play? Total Apex Sports. Nicholas Mullock with this one. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because it's just not something I really get into a lot with betting and all that stuff. We all get it, though. Let's just go through this quickly. The schedule is brutal. You guys get it. I get it. Well, the only thing I'll say about the schedule is that for the most part, everybody in the NFC North is facing the same schedule. So I would just give you guys this. I'm not going to give away my season prediction. We'll be sending that, or saving that for next week leading into the regular season. But it would be my anticipation Lions are going to cover the 10-win mantra, or 10.5. But you know what? Been wrong before. Sorry, fighting a little bit of cold, so I had to clear my throat. All right, next to the 5 headlines out. Dan Campbell admits it's, quote, concerning, end quote, that the Lions did not play well in the preseason. Pro Football Talk, Michael David Smith. And if I'm a coach, if I'm Dan Campbell, I would agree. You had some flashes here and there. You overall did not play well. Saturday's, whatever you want to call it, game they did out there, you could see there just wasn't, from the third string especially, wasn't a lot happening. And I'm not just talking about the quarterback play. Some of the routes the receivers, running backs ran weren't the greatest. The secondary for Detroit I thought was not good at all. The pass rush was nearly non-existent. So could it be that's why they got rid of a bunch of these guys? Hey, we need to beef up the third stringers. It is possible. I think we all agree that the first string for the Detroit Lions is going to be one of the best in the NFL. You could probably even argue the second string isn't too bad. That third string, though, if you need them, you might not have a lot of confidence in them. There's a whole lot of reasoning why that could be. Dan Campbell talked about it with the media. Said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, said some things look good, other things not so much. Is that those third stringers weren't getting enough reps? Is it simply they're not that great? Is it the coaching change with them? I think all things can be true. You get into that last preseason game, there's probably a lot of people checked out of that game emotionally, mentally, and moving on to the regular season from the coaching staff. Not saying I agree with that, but it is what it is. Would be human nature. Where the Lions go from here? Well, we'll know in the next 24 hours how many people, fresh faces they bring into the team or to the practice squad. But I do think the Lions are going to make some changes based on what they've seen in the preseason. All right, last of 5 headlines now. Lions may have already found their new quarterback, the heavy, and there is some possibility to this. Mike Payton's reporting this. Everybody's going to have different quarterbacks coming to the Lions. One of them that seems to be picking up a lot of steam, though, is on Monday. Kyle McCord was released from the Philadelphia Eagles. He wasn't the only one. So was Doran Thomas Robinson. In the last few days, he was released. Now, a whole lot of you, when Doran Thomas Robinson was in the draft, wanted us to grab him like in the 6th or 7th round. I could see something like that happening. I don't think there's a possibility for Hendon Hooker to return to the Detroit Lions. Reason why I'm saying that, when a head coach goes on the mic and just says, hey, flat out, before the cut even happens, maybe you need to change the scenery. I mean, that's a pretty damning statement. As soon as I heard that from MCDC, I said, yeah, Hooker's done here in Detroit. There's no chance for him to save it here or be here. And we don't know all the behind the doors stuff, but what that statement does tell you is MCDC had seen enough, the coaching staff had seen enough, and his time in Detroit was going to be done. Could Kyle McCord be a Detroit Lion? I think there's a real possibility. But with that also being said, as you guys probably aware, the Raiders' backup quarterback's out for like 6 to 8 weeks. And there'll be some other teams looking to upgrade their backup position. We're thankfully in a pretty good spot with Kyle Allen. I do think he's a capable backup quarterback. I don't know if I'd want to say, hey, go win 5 or 6 straight games in the regular season and then playoffs or something were to happen in golf. But, I'm just not sure you're going to get vastly better than him now that Carson Wentz is off the board, along with some other options. McCord, though, I think if you're going to put him on the practice squad as your 3rd string emergency quarterback, him and a few other options that will emerge probably aren't that bad. Hooker, I don't know where he's going to go, what's going to happen. But some team, let's be fair, some team are going to think, hey, look at all the positives with this guy, the size, the arm, the mobility. We can work with him to develop him. And on the practice squad as your emergency quarterback, that may not be a bad situation for him. I wish him well no matter what. I hope he does land on his feet. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's go ahead and get on over to the main topic of the day. All right, today's show, we're not going to have any special guests. We're just going to talk about all this. So I want to approach the main topic from 2 different opportunities for the Detroit Lions. One, yes, maybe they are setting up a return for Zadarius Smith. Let's walk through some of the moves yesterday. Zach Johnson was cut by the Detroit Lions. Probably not a big shock to anybody out there. He'd been here for a little bit, but not horribly long, and I don't think he'd really impressed. Nate Lynn, at least in my perspective, was a bit of a shocker. Most of you would agree he's probably one of the better reserve pass rushers that we had, at least in the preseason. Jacoby Keene-James was also released, wide receiver. Not a shock there. I don't think anybody had him really making the team. Now, Miles Adam and Broderick Martin both released. That was a bit of a surprise. Martin, if you would have had a better preseason finale, I think you could have said maybe there's like a 60%, 70% chance he made it. But he looked pretty dang bad. He went back to old Martin in that game, not the one we saw the prior 2 weeks where he actually looked pretty decent. I think he was donezo due to that. Miles Adams, hey, had a lot of good moments last year. Just do you remember anything this year? And I think that's ultimately why they got rid of him. Jacob Sailors, and Deion Jackson, running backs, both cut. Sailors, I know a lot of us liked him, but I think also most of us, not saying everybody, but most of us probably didn't think he would crack the top 4, although there had been some speculation. Maybe Craig Reynolds would no longer be a Lion. Obviously, that's, I would at least say right now, I would think he's pretty safe here. We've been kind of splitting hairs on this one, and that's Eric Hollett, just because, in my opinion, watching him in the preseason, he can play both safety spots. He can play the X outside. I liked him a lot, and I hope he returns on the practice squad. They also waived cornerback Luke Barkle. Boy, I messed that one up, and I don't even really know him that well. Earlier in the day, Nick Whiteside and Kennelly were released. Kennelly, I thought, was a little bit of a surprise. I thought he'd done some good things. But that being said, Lauren Strickland's been here. He's done that. He looked pretty good Saturday. Nick Whiteside, I'd like to see him return to the practice squad. He's got some size. He can play different spots. Again, versatility is a strength of his. I didn't think DJ Miller had much of a chance, but I did like what I saw out of him. So we'll see what shakes out there. Already talked about Whiteside, Jackson Meeks. You guys know, hey, I had talked about keeping him. I like what I saw of him. Apparently, the Lions just said we're going to go with other directions at the wide receiver core. It would be, unless we hear something about Lovett, it looks like the Lions are going to go with 6 wide receivers, and that may not be such a bad thing. But again, that could all change today. Dan Skipper, you already know about, already talked about it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that one. Hendon Hooker, you know about, so we're all caught up there. So what do we make of these moves? Now, could it be that we're freeing up some money to sign Za'Darius or somebody else on the defensive line? That is a possibility. But I want to take a second and say, if that's not where we're going, what are the Detroit Lions and Kelvin Shepard, MCDC, Brad Holmes telling us? Probably means they're in-house. The reason why they gave that big contract to Derek Barnes, well, guess what? Derek Barnes wasn't bad last year or even the year before at getting to the quarterback. Is he going to be an every down defensive end? Probably not. But what this is telling me so far, and all this could change today when we get the more in-depth of the final 53-man roster, but it tells me that the Detroit Lions are banking on Marcus Davenport and then probably Derek Barnes to rotate at that defensive end spot. Who's going to go with Aiden Hutchinson? Well, you got those 3 rotating. Who else is going to go there? Maybe Ahmed Hassani. Maybe he's a little bit more healthy than we realize. But outside of those guys, Alaquim Muhammad has done real well in the preseason. I thought his last couple games were probably his best of the preseason. Let me ask you guys out there, am I right, wrong, or crazy to think that all of a sudden we should all have raised expectations for Derek Barnes? You could look at some of the other linebackers, and we know not a ton last year, but some. His rookie year, though, a lot. And that would be the hammer, Jack Campbell. I think you're going to see both him and Barnes used a lot more at defensive end pass rush, which would also mean, in my opinion, you might see times where the Lions do use a lot more 4 linebacker packages. Look at the backups to this Detroit Lions in the linebacker room. Cunningham, and some of the other guys out there, Rodrigo when he returns, they all have some motors. They can fly. Now, I don't know Cunningham enough to say he's probably going to be used in pass rush situations, but when I watch him this preseason shoot gaps, etc., he's pretty fluid. He gets leverage pretty fast, and I enjoy that part. So right there, let's all take a moment of pause, and before we officially re-sign Za'Darius Smith, just ask ourselves, could it be that Kelvin Shepard, because of mobile quarterbacks, and we do face quite a few, wants more speed and athleticism on the edge rotation? It's nothing against Za'Darius Smith. It's nothing against Marcus Davenport, or let's face it, most 280 to 300-pound defensive ends don't always have the best foot speed. They don't have the best agility. But who does? Look at that linebacker core for the Detroit Lions and say, if I put in an obvious passing situation, Hutchinson's going to be out there no matter what. You get that, I get that. He's just a win all around. But if I take Davenport out or rotate him with Jack Campbell, with Derek Barnes, maybe with Cunningham or whoever else you're going to list, maybe Alex Anzalone, do I get somebody out there? Now, Alex Anzalone, I don't think he's going to, unless it's like a delayed blitz, I don't think he's going after the quarterback a ton. He's too good in coverage. If you're going to put Campbell on one side, Barnes on the other side at times, let them go after the quarterback. You need somebody who's going to cover the middle of the field and take away the first read from the opposing quarterback. He covers very well. That seems to be more his mantra. But to be fair, Jack Campbell did grow a lot in coverage last year. You also look at all the versatility we have in the secondary with the corners, with the safeties. I think there's a real possibility. Kelvin Shepard yesterday with these cuts tipped his hands and said, hey, we're going to put a whole lot of speed on the field. And in the back 7, basically, or back 6 with the safeties, the corners, pseudo linebackers with some of these safety/corners, we're going to go man across the board, and we're going to put a lot more athleticism than you can officially block. Now, as long as you get to the quarterback, this all holds weight. But what do you say, Duke Crew? Am I way off base for thinking that the pass rush we want is already in-house and that Kelvin Shepard, without doing it in the preseason, he's telling us some of the plans for the regular season? Personally, as you guys know, I've coached a long time. I love aggression. I do not like being passive. It's real rare situations where I'm going to let somebody sit back and determine their own fate. I'm going to get in your face. I'm going to kick your butt. I'm going to go after your family in the stands and do everything you can to put pressure consistently in your face, waiting for that 1 or 2 moments. Maybe you're right 90% of the time, but the other 10%, those are interceptions, those are fumbles, those are game changers, and that's where I think Kelvin Shepard, MCDC, Brad Holmes are telling us this is what we're going to do. We're going to go after the other team's quarterback, and we're going to unleash some of these very athletic linebackers that we've had on this roster. Just haven't used them in those scenarios as much as we're about to. All right, Duke Crew, there are my thoughts on that. Maybe Z comes back. I won't be upset if he does, but I do think with some of the cuts yesterday, these are big tells what's going to happen with the Detroit Lions. I can only give you my opinion. Doesn't mean it's correct, but that is my huge opinion, I guess. All right, let's scroll to the top of the screen. 1, 2, 3. See what you guys all have to say. I see there's more than a few comments out there. But I can only say when I coach, I'm Blitzburg, I'm zone reads, I'm all sorts of different stuff. I want to throw as much confusion and changes at a quarterback as possible for one simple reason. If you can't keep up, if you can't tell the differences, which some quarterbacks do struggle with, make one thing look like another thing, hit them, you only need a couple real turnovers a game to really change the game, and that's where I think the Lions, we might be all missing the very painfully obvious that we're going to see this linebacker core really unleashed this year, which is also why we have so many good ones. Michael, greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew, exclamation point, one pride, woo, and back at you. Jason, Levi Stadium or bust, I love the way you're thinking. Kerry, morning crew, morning Kerry. Till the hunt, Zadarius better pack with Lynn gone. Yeah, right now I would say that does seem like it, but maybe it's not all of it. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew, all aboard, exclamation point, woo, I'll take that. Kerry, what about Martin? Martin is gone, my friend. He is out here. Does he return to the practice squad? I guess that's a fair question. Pierce, did anyone see Skip coming? Like I said earlier, Pierce, remember when I did the initial, and this is like a month ago or so, projections, I didn't have him making it. I had Giovanni Manu supplanting him because he's cheaper, he's younger, he can play the third string tight end, the extra offensive lineman, get some reps this year. But also, notice Jamarco Jones, at least as of yet, hasn't been cut. So my guess is that's probably where they're leaning, those two guys as the backups. Maybe they're going to acquire somebody else. I don't know. Let's see, Robert. Greetings, sanitation, everyone. Back at you. Pierce, coach, can I get a skipper? Woo! One last time. Hey, you saw it during the opening intro. I don't really want to mess a lot of it. I think I've got one on here somewhere. It just hasn't been fully edited. So, let's just move on from it. Hey, I'm not taking them out of the intros anytime soon. We'll put it that way, Pierce. All right, Johnny L, good morning, folks. Back at you. Jameer, if I can get it to click. Greetings, salutations, Duke Crew family. And back at you. It's always good to have family, isn't it? Family is everything. Pierce, Kerry, he was a part of the skipper round of cuts. He was indeed. Until then, I'm glad the Martin experiment is over. I'm sad by it just because there's the potential there. We've seen some potential. It just can't hold it up. Jason, can we please have Tesla as our number 3? Move Patrick to tight end? I still think that's what I would do. I don't know if they're ever going to listen to me. Probably not. But I do think between Tesla, I don't know, man. Maybe Giovanni Manu, somebody else for more of a blocking tight end number 3, and Tim Patrick. I think that would be my number 3. But of course, that was with me keeping 7 wide receivers. Robert, oh my, today shall be interesting. Also, yeah, keep your notifications on today. We start getting to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's where I think a lot more news is going to really break and hit. Will there be some trades today? I personally say probably 2 of them. We'll see. Pierce, the UFL won't even pick up Broderick to bust Martin. I don't know about that. I think he might shine in time. Pierce, after Skip got cut, I am not convinced Patrick is safe. I'll go with that. Sure, it's time to have a Super Bowl season. I like the way you're thinking. Until then, don't have to label or number the wide receiver. It is all situational driven. I'll go with that 100% there. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. I think with so many of the edge rushers gutted last night, Z has to be back on the team soon. That's where a lot of people seem to be thinking, and I wouldn't disagree with it. There's got to be something going on. Now, could it be, like I was saying, the linebackers are simply going to be used more in the rotation for defensive end on obvious pass downs? Could be. Jameer, let's go Lions. I like the way you're thinking. Johnny L, Robert Yankee, so dang true. I'll take that. Pierce, Trey Tippin, even after cutting his nephew, hey, at the end of the day, it's a business. If you're only going to sign with the team that signs your nephew, then you probably have limited options where you'll go. Pierce, Meeks will get snagged by someone. I agree. I think he will. Gary, UFL and CFL pickups are a lot of dead weight. Might be true. Pierce Hedden, I could see signing with the Jets. Yeah, that could be a spot. Jets, greeting salutations, Duke Crew. I'm reading Ben Johnson is trying to get Skipper to Chicago. Shake my head. I wouldn't doubt it if there's a lot of validity to that. Pierce Just Lynn, he can ruin another trick play or run another trick play for the TD for the left tackle if he gets Skipper. Correct. Johnny L, yeah, the Meeks cut had me scratching my head. The only thing I can say is I'm going to trust the coaching staff. I would have kept them. You guys know that. I would have kept 7 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. Obviously, they want to go in a different direction. Why? We'll have to find out from them. Drake Jets would make sense to me. They need O-line and knows Johnson systems. Hate to see him go there. Hate it, but you know what? I wish Dan Skipper well. He's done nothing but good for the Detroit community, for the Detroit Lions. I just wish him future success, although I do personally believe he will be back with the Detroit Lions. All right, until then, I think Skipper would rather return here than lose in Chicago. Yeah, I know a bunch of guys ask me, hey, if I get cut, do I have to sign with somebody else? If somebody claims you and takes your rights, it's not like you're a free agent. You are going to be picked up and fulfill that portion of your remaining contract, unless it was voided or something. JK, Uncle Z, and Nephew Meeks in. I'll take that. Until then, it was probably already prearranged that he is returning. Could be, yeah. And we've been speculating about that for some time, haven't we? Pierce, but again, after Skipper got cut, I am not convinced Patrick is safe today. Dan has many things up his sleeve. Yeah, him and Brad, I no doubt about it. They've got a game plan. They're chess players, not checkers players. Not that I have disrespect for either one. Johnny L, he's not going to Chicago. We'll find out. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I am surprised by how many of the edge rushers were cut already. Team has to have something going on. I would agree with that fully. Good to see you as always. Hope training is going well. JK, Skip is family. He'll be back like 3 years past rain. Okay. Bo, I know there's something going on. Probably is something going on. France, the 2023 draft class is not looking so hot for the team. Thankfully, other drafts have been outstanding. Yeah, I mean, the Lions rolled some dice a little bit that particular year, 2023. Hooker didn't work out. Martin didn't work out. You know what? Hey, at least they took some shots instead of always playing safe. We can all probably agree, though, this team was built on the draft, and, man, it's been highly successful outside of maybe some of those draft picks. Pierce, Franz Ferdinand on the top of that draft was Brad's best. Might be accurate. Till then, everybody remember, these are deep pieces depth pieces that Brad and Dan see better players they can pick up over them. We don't know yet. Yeah, until it all shakes out, we've got about 24 more hours until we'll probably have a lot more answers. Attila Pierce, it was after round 2, it went south. I'll take that. Moonscar, just give the man his 99. There you go. And let's move forward with the season. Good morning, Duke Crew. Hey, let the conspiracy theories start raining. Broderick Martin's cut. He wears 99. What does Za'Darius want to wear? 99. Jess, I'll be watching to see if another team grabs Meeks. I think you probably will see that happen. I'm thinking both he and Kennelly get grabbed. I'll think so. So true, 2023 was a great draft. Xavier, greetings. HS, all right. How about Duke Crew? I don't know. To all in the Duke Crew, and have a blessed day. Exclamation point. Go Lions. Woo! And back at you. Always good to see you, Xavier. JK, or maybe Z and Meeks are gone. We'll find out probably by Thursday morning. We'll know one way or the other. Moonscar, many changes might be happening to the Lions Talk Live. Intro, no Skipper, no Malafano. Hey, things do change. The one consistency in life is change. Till I get a bunch of Pro Bowlers, go grab them all. Get everybody can. Moonscar, but I think Skipper made it back to the practice squad. I think he will too. We'll see if Ben Johnson or somebody else claims him though. All right. Oops, I have an issue there. Bo, is there a standby squad to the practice squad? There is not, unfortunately. Remember, we didn't have, other than maybe like 4 seasons ago, there wasn't a practice squad. Now there is. The NFL, while I know a lot of you clamor for bigger rosters, they gave you the practice squad. That is their attempt at a bigger roster. Pierce Moonscar Blade, one more Skipper. Woo! For old time's sake. You got it. Probably going to have him for a little bit. JK, Lions don't want family drama, I heard. No, they want a good locker room, and they have one of the NFL's best locker rooms. Credit them. They don't bring in distractions. Johnny, Jess, they will be snagged for sure. I'll go with that. Xavier, who will be cut? We'll know all those answers by 4, whether or not they get announced before 4:30. That I don't know. And Big Eddie, a lot of things happening in the next few days, I'll bet. Stunned by a few of these cuts. I think we all are, and still have 30 to go. Yeah, roughly about that. Carrie, I can see Benor making all sorts of pleas, but if they are any line leaving this organization, I think it's hard about Chicago and what that would mean. You wouldn't want to play here. You know, the only thing I would say to all the players is this is a business for them. If nobody else is calling you to give you employment and Chicago is it, I wish you and your family well. Go there and play. Keep those checks going, because at the end of the day, it's not about the team. It's about, I mean, they all have loyalty, I'm sure, to MCDC and the Detroit Lions. But if you don't have an option to go somewhere else to continue getting paychecks and feed your family, you're going to take wherever team calls you, and that might be Chicago for some of these guys. Pierce, I am waiting to see if Pascal and Hassanin get added to the pub list or stay on the active roster. That's a great question. Very good question. Pierce, that would be very telling. I would agree 1,000%. JK, cutting players is one thing, not signing them back is another thing. Agreed with that very much. Yikes. Yes, JK. Johnny, they're going to cut Jared Goff and resign Hendon Hooker. We'll see if that shakes out. Big Dan's, good morning, Coach Dan and the new crew. Exclamation point. Oh, yeah. I sure hope Z is back. It would make our D line great. I agree. You know, even if he's not a starter, or if him and Davenport are just splitting reps, and then sometimes splitting reps with Hutch too, I think, yeah, that's a pretty good deep line. Susan, how does it work when we cut a player? Question mark. Can we just resign them ASAP? No, they've got to go through, I think it's officially a 24-hour window. Basically, it's like, think of the draft. Who was the worst team last year? You get the number 1 claim, then the number 2 claim, et cetera, as you go through the list. Once everybody's had a 24-hour window to sign a player, claim a player, if they haven't been signed, then the team that cut them could resign them to the practice squad. All right, Gary, think Skipper makes practice squad with Meeks or Lynn? Maybe. In some of that, like we mentioned earlier, MCDC and Brad Holmes are probably making some calculated moves. We don't think anybody's going to sign Dan Skipper. Lynn, Meeks, I do think is going to get some attention. JK, Susan, most likely. Pierce, so Scott, we have to clear waivers. Yes, the players would have to clear waivers. Bo, the picture reminds me of the 2 bears, the one on the sites pointing at the other one. Okay, Johnny, Susan, yes, they can. Henry Moore, Coach. Good morning, Coach Dan and the new crew. What a team! What a podcast! What time to be a Lions fan? Woo! Good to see you, Henry. 5 fingers, Freddie. Skipper will be back. Don't know about some of the others. Yeah, I think some of the others might get claimed. Carrie, ain't that the truth, Bo? Mary, good morning, Dan and Duke crew. I'm really feeling sad this morning. The shock of letting Big Skipper go and Meeks. Yeah, I was pretty shocked by both of them. I was at the gym trying to get a workout in when all of a sudden I got the news that Skipper and Meeks have been let go. I was like, man, I got to get on the mic for you guys. So I couldn't get a full workout in. Lions Talk Live fan, good morning, Deweys. And back at you, Jess and Brad and Dan, I trust. I agree with that. JK, in recent cuts, it seems 50% of practice squad built. I concur. Johnny, Mary Smith, I think that Meeks will be back. I hope so, man. JK, in your opinion? So small, what will we look to add? Question mark. Anyone got info? It's just my personal belief. Interior offensive line is probably going to be a targeted area, a good sound backup center. I don't think you're going to get a starting level 1 unless somebody really supersedes expectations. Outside that, maybe tight end, because you guys, if you watch the show in the last week or two, I've been very vocal. I just don't like our options at tight end number 3. I just don't see somebody who's can run routes and block, and that's probably part of the issue. Terry, Mary 4 will be back on practice squad. That can't be poached if that's any consolation. Yeah, once you establish your practice squad, you can protect, and it changes from week to week. You can protect 4 players from being poached by another team. All right, having some issues with the clicks here, so I'll just have to read it. Oh, wait, there it goes. Kim, sad to see Skipper go, and hopefully he'll be back. JK, today will be another other half before 4 p.m. Correct that. Steve Rogers, good morning. Do crew regulators, mount up. We will be mounting up and riding out. Kim, me too, Mary. JDC, morning all. Kim, curious to see what today brings. I like the way you're thinking. Mary, Johnny L., I sure hope so. Henry, just thinking, they are not done yet. No, they are not. Johnny L., today will be cut one of those that won't make the roster anyways. Yeah, some of those, the fact that they cut some of these guys already, it tells you where they really rank them. Now, we as fans sometimes think, man, this guy's a home run. But think about all the guys still on the roster that haven't been cut. The fact that Meeks was cut so early, or Lynn. Lynn, I was really surprised by. Skipper, I wasn't as much, even though I knew it would be a headline. Pat, I think I'll grab a quarterback and put them on the practice squad. Don't see us keeping 2. Correct with that. Gary, JDC, glad to see you made it. Exclamation point. I agree. JK, not final yet. I agree. Mary, thank you, Bo Booth. I need this morning. Hey, sometimes you need a Mountain Dew. Kim, ready for a Z prayer circle? Let's get it going. Big Dad's greatest YouTube podcast. Hey, thanks for that. The Duke Crew makes it great, don't it? Exclamation point. Woo! And thanks for that, my friend. 100%. Miles Barker, great morning. All big day of the D. It is a big day across the NFL. Let's make no mistake about it. They are all, chomping at the bit to either sign a player, bring players back, etc. Johnny L. Grip morning to you, JDC. Tori Apple, Mary Smith, I need a coffee or two. Go have it. Maybe add a do. Detroit D, exclamation points. Good morning, Duke Crew. It's our year. I think you're right. I think it is the year of the Lions in the Super Bowl. I know you say that as a content creator. You're probably a homer. Maybe I am a little bit, but I do think the Lions, if nothing else, I'll say this. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Doughboy Steve, good morning, gang. Back at you. It's been a hot second since we've seen it. Good to see you, my friend. Man Bear, let's see. What do you got? Greetings, citations. And with you, Johnny L. Thunder and Lightning, baby. Oh, yeah. Tori Apple, thumbs up, says Mary. JDC, grit to you, Johnny L. Woo! Johnny, Sonic and Knuckles coming at you. I think so. Big Daz, why didn't they trade me? Question mark. There are a lot of teams looking for wide receivers. The only thing I can say, Daz, is there must not have been any phone calls. Now, again, we as fans can have opinions, but if nobody calls or nobody offers you anything, there's no trade. And my guess is Brad Holmes, unless he's really doing something none of us would foresee, he's probably listened to other teams trying to work some deals out. But at the end of the day, if you can't work out a deal, you got to make a move. All right, JK, I bet the Lions claim 2 of the team waivers or at least 1 for center. I'll go with that. Yeah, I think we're thinking alike there, JK. JDC, Puff, woo, coffee, and Lions Talk Live. Got to love it. Drew, hey, Duke Crew. Hey, Drew. Joseph, wake and bake. There we go. Good morning, Dan. Exclamation point. Go Lions. Go. Good morning to you too, Drew. Well, metaphorically, hugs to you, Mary and Tori, and anyone who's feeling a little bit blue this morning. There's still a lot of news coming. Yes, 100%. I think some of us are sad by some of the news that we got yesterday, but let's see where it all shakes out. Let's, wait and see before we judge anything. Johnny L, where's Hookadoo this morning? I don't know. Maybe he's just running late. JK position. Johnny, here we go. Johnny, the show is starting. Yes, it is. JK Skipper, woo, part. How about that? Mary, Bo Booth, love, thank you. Coach Rock, good morning. All my friends downstate mentioned that Z is in the area. Maybe I don't have anything official on that, but again, kind of Scooby-Dooing or trying to be dime store detective here. You made all those roster moves, especially at the edge already. I mean, these were some of the first cuts. You still got 30 guys to go. Think about how many people were removed from the edge department. It seems like something's up. Could it be that, like I was speculating, the linebackers are going to be used more? Or could it be Z's on his way back to the D? They definitely freed up some cap yesterday. Kerry, still would like to experience offensive guard, center, defensive tackle, edge, and quarterback. Get all the above, man. Lauren, it's cut day. It is, my friend. Good to see you as always. Marks, I can't believe Skipper was cut. Everybody, woo! Yeah, you know what? It'll be sad if he doesn't return, but I personally think he will. Don Kong, Z blows goats. We'll find out. Let's see. Motown Mitch. What if the Lions rule, Bears drool, Packers are lactose intolerant, Vikings are actually queens? Hey, might be all accurate. We'll find out. Inquiring minds want to know, right? Let's see. Dunk Kong, Brad knows best. Exclamation point. Trust in Brad. We are trusting in him. Drady, I knew Meeks wouldn't make the roster. Hopefully he makes waiver, but I doubt it. No, I think there's enough there, especially if you're a rebuilding franchise, trying to start over. Why wouldn't you invest in a big body wide receiver who makes some plays? He's going to need time to grow into a professional wide receiver, but I think a lot of the stuff's there. Mary, I was wondering the same thing. Where were you, Hookadoo? Question mark. We'll find out. Coach Rock, Skipper has been cut before, so probably be back. I agree with that. James, I think it was a mistake to cut Meeks. We'll find out. And I was a little surprised by it, but it is what it is. Bo Hookadoo must be playing hooky. There you go. Well done, Mitch. With the cutting of Skipper, they now need a wide receiver, defensive end, tackle, and a guard. That's a lot of versatility to replace. We'll see what they do. Dude, says Johnny. Kurt Steele. What up, though, Duke Crew? What up, man of Steel? How you doing, Professor? No matter how many surprise cuts or what they do, I will support Brad and MCDC. Yeah, they clearly have a plan, and they're sticking to that game plan. Art, good morning to you, my friend. Courtney, Z-Man did not want training camp. He didn't get it, did he? Made a friendly deal, show up late. Let's see if he shows up this week. That would be great, I think. Rock, Hookadoo probably in shock from the cuts. He will grit it out. Yes, he might be emotionally having to get over it. I understand. A very difficult time with this loss of the offensive weapon, Dan Skipper. Marcus, remember, if a team claims our cut players, they must have a spot available on their active roster. Too true. Most of these players will be on the practice squad. Mark my words. Yeah, or they're going to part ways with somebody they were going to originally keep on the 53. That also is a possibility. JK, Christmas in August. You got to love it. Hey, why not have Christmas every day of the year? That's what I said. Mary, good morning, Professor Steele. Coach Rock, good morning, Kurt. Mary Smith, good morning. And back at you, Coach Rock. Trade Day, ready for the Brad Holmes hate, and I will never understand it. Hey, people always got to have something to hate, right? Everybody's got to be a villain. James, Bill Romanowski, okay. Let's see, Marcus, stop it. AA trade is silly. Yeah, I don't see that happening, man. There was another trade rumor out there. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, Marcus, but I mean, I don't think Alex Anzalone is going anywhere, especially if I'm right about what they're about to do, rotating in some of the backers to rush the quarterback. Campbell can cover. I think we agree. Rodrigo, when healthy, can cover. But you know who's better at all of them? There'll be Alex Anzalone. JK, good morning. Kurt, Johnny L, Mr. Steele, good morning, sir. Miles Marker, sub, like, share, copy, please. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit all the ones. And thank you, Miles Marker. Professor Steele, JK, good morning. And to Johnny, good morning. JK, do strong this morning. Gotta love the do. JK, they should move on from AA. He is getting up in age, and there's no one to mentor anyone. The coach said it's Jack's defense. I'll go with that. Chris Steele, Lynn and Skipper were shockers. I concur. King SJ, good morning. Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Go Lions. Back at you, my friend. Always good to see you, King SJ. Pierce, Kurt Steele, Skip was the big one for me. I'll go with that. Mary Smith, Professor Steele, yes, it was. Coach Rock, good morning. Miles Marker, well, I guess some changes were due this squad, but the final roster not finished yet. Still 2 weeks to change a lot. You are right with that, my friend. Johnny L., what do you have going on today, Mr. Steele? We'll find out. Marcus Skipper gets cut every year, and we'll be back with Lions. That's a pretty fair statement. He is cut fairly often. JK Hooker better stay cut. I'm sorry. All right. We'll see what happens with Hooker. I don't think they're bringing him back. With Dan Campbell's comments, yeah, I just don't see it happening. Johnny, no, sorry. Chris Steele, Johnny, gathering info for my next article dropping tomorrow for Sideliner Sports. We'll have to check it out, my friend. Maybe send me the link. Maybe we can include it in 5 headlines now. I'm down with that. Kerry, why is Skipper shocked 5 plays a game? We'll find out. JK, laughing out loud. Duncan, Brad knows best. Exclamation point. Never questioned him. Hey, we can question anything, but I also support him because he's done a pretty good job here. Amy, good morning. Dan and the ultra fabulous new crew. Exclamation point. I think more shockers are on the way. Will Z be back by tonight? We'll find out, but I think at least it's looking more probable with all those cuts yesterday that you're doing something at defensive end that we haven't seen as of yet. Kurt Steele, they might be looking to put some guys on IR. They have to clear roster spots, and Skip isn't subject to waivers, so he may be back after Rake and a few others are placed on IR. Could be. Good thinking there. Gary, Amy, I say after Fudge Packers game, might be true. Coach Rock can win 9 games or just scrape in the playoffs as long as they bring a Super Bowl home. Woo! Yeah, as long as you get the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter how you get in the playoffs, just get there because then you're part of the dance. Mary, Amy, yes, he is, or better going to Detroit and find his butt. Go find him. Coach Tiny K, hey, Coach Duke Crew. Yeah, Skipper shocked me and Meeks. I concur. Johnny L, good morning, Amy. He will be back. I like the way you're thinking. Pascal Pup, there we go. JK. Let's see. Williams just joined. Is he coming back? All signs are like they're pointing towards they're doing something. You don't get rid of all those defensive ends, especially some of your better reserves, unless you're looking to add something. At least that's my thinking. If you got a different idea on that, let me know. JK, my spelling is trash. Man, I bet you I can beat you with worse spelling there, JK. I no doubt about that. Angie, not yet. Kim, Skipper is a free agent, does not go through the waiver wires. There you go. Dre Day, no, I thought Z wouldn't come back without his nephew. Yeah, we'll find out. Doug Kong, Z definitely not coming back. Exclamation point. Brad is good. All right. JK, Lions never added Sun God's brother, Aquarius. Yeah, and I want to say he just got released by, was it the 49ers? I think that's right. Johnny L, JK, mine too. Same old heat, just reheated. Tardy, but present. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, sometimes we're all tardy. Gary, Kim let him play 5 plays for the Jets. JK, Johnny L is laughing. Ken, good morning. Dan and the new crew, back at you. Joseph, what backup comes out and wins 5 or 6 games? Most backups stink. Yeah, most do. We'll see if there's anybody, if we find a diamond in the rough there. Bo, AG might not want him. He knows the guy. He does know the guy. Derek, I wouldn't only bring Z back if he can play center or offensive tackle. Our interior offensive line is seriously suspect and needs to be addressed ASAP. Yeah, I do wonder if the Lions are going to try to approach something there. Grady, Lions don't need another over 30-year-old player, but if Z shows he won't be enough to be noticed, Davenport is going to show out this year. DDI for a comeback. Let's make that happen. Coach Rock, that's true. Joseph, so many emphasis on the backup quarterback. Yeah, there's so much emphasis. There you go. Gary, every player also has the right to decline a deal. All right. Eddie's Fish, I thought drafting Hendon Hooker was a bad pick anyways, and I knew that he would not pan out. Now the Lions releasing Dan Skipper was dumb. All right, we'll see what they bring back. Pierce, bye-bye, Broderick the Bust. Okay, Walt, good morning, Coach Dan, Coach and Duke crew. Woo, back at you, Walt. How you doing today? Kurt, EQ tried to come to Detroit to play with his brother. The Lions said pass. They did pass on him. I want to say 2 seasons ago. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but that sounds right. JK, Bustic, Martin, better stay a cut too. We'll find out. Rock, there are a lot of busts in the NFL. You can't hit on every pick or where they should all go. No, and the fact that I would say most teams only really hit on 55% of their picks. Lions, go by your own math, but they're pretty close to 90% of their picks work out. So they are almost doubled the success rate of every NFL team. Not every, but the vast majority, I should say. JK, I remember that. Kurt, didn't know why. Now you know. JK, let's see. Kurt Steele says, JK, yep, I was breakdancing when I saw Broderick was cut. Hey, don't hurt that back, my friend. Walt made a live show. Woo! And I'm glad you did, my friend. Pierce, Kurt Steele, no one was happier than me. Laughing out loud. Always hated the Martin pick. There you go. Gary, Truth Rock. All right. JK, Kurt, I was Dutch dancing, tapping. There you go. Hey, nothing wrong with that. David, love it in Meeks because we have openings on special teams, but we love plenty of receivers. There you go. I like plenty of receivers. You got crazy legs, Kurt. You got to have crazy legs, right? Kurt Steele, JK, Pierce Sargent is laughing. Hookadoo, hey, there you go. Can't tell you how long it's been since I slept this late. Well, hey, congratulations, my friend. JK is a skull. All right, maybe get ready for Halloween. Dre Day. David, very accurate. Jess, Z, dream is just that, a dream. Banking on Davenport is a bad bet. All right. Kurt Steele is dancing, I guess. Pierce, Jess Cruz, facts. Mary Smith, Hookadoo, you're late. Good morning. Hey, sometimes we're all late. Gary Pierce, I think we both hated it in the same. All right. Johnny L, yo, Hookadoo, grip morning to you, my grip brother. Your grip brothers are in the house. Musmar, good for you, brah. You must have needed it. Hookadoo, yeah, might be accurate. Pierce, you still need edge help. We still do need edge help, I think. Hookadoo, good morning, dear crew. Let that sink in. Skipper and Z will be in the D. Maybe accurate. We'll see what shakes out. Great Lakes. Hey, coach and crew. Hope all is well. I'd say you're correct that Z will be back with Lynn gone. I think Skipper will be back too, just like they did come on Craig Reynolds last year. That's accurate. Yeah, good call. Good call. JK, phew, needs a breath. Yeah, I need a breath every once in a while. Coach Rock, talking grit there, Hookadoo. Hope you're right. I hope you're all right there. Carrie, let's see. It was just bad. Laughing out loud, says Pierce. Just while the starters didn't play on defense, the Lions couldn't stop the run or cover the middle of the field very well. No, I would agree with that. Lions Talk Live fan in-house. Congratulations. Welcome back. Derek, I count about 12 games where we face a mobile quarterback. And I think maybe that, you guys heard my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you're thinking. Johnny L, I'm not worried. I'm glad you're not. And Pierce, I'm only concerned about pass rush. Miles Margaret, Lions gambling. No one wants old man Skipper. Wonder if Aaron Glenn will. Ooh, him or Ben Johnson. Could they just grab him on the spite? Maybe the spite tree grows. Just they also didn't mount much of a pass rush during the preseason, correct? Dre Day, feeding off the Davenport hate and watch him be great. He will play majority of the season and get his paycheck. I hope he does, man. It'd be good for the team. And he says, you're right, Coach Dan. For the Lions to make a run at the Super Bowl, the coaching staff has to make better coaching decisions like they do not want go away from their game plan. Yeah, stick to the game plan. Kurt Steele, one thing to remember is the initial 53-man roster only official about 24 hours. Yes, and then adjustments will be made. Brian, good morning, everyone. I called on here that Barnes is my defensive player of the year. I believe you did, my friend, and I think they may unleash him. JK, fourth stringers don't expect to stop the run in the middle. Maybe. Coach Rock, the preseason was not the Detroit Lions playing. Oh, I agree with that. Hookadoo, morning, Miles Mary, Mr. Let's see, Coach Rock, Johnny L. Ugh, I need some grit today. Get yourself some grit. Bo, I like the way you're thinking, Coach. Exclamation point. Shep is going to unleash the linebacking core. Yeah, that's my personal belief. That's what, from the moves we made so far, that's where I really think things are going. We're going to get far more athletic out there. Lions bad guy. No more Martin. Yay, bye-bye. Okay, all balls. Let me sneak in here real quick. Good morning, Duke Crew. Hey, good to see you, Anthony. How you doing today, man? Glad to have you on the show. Talk about one of the Lions' OG Duke Crewers. Great Lake State guy. Last year, they told Craig that they would sign him after the IR positions were official, and they did. Yes, they did. JK and third, string theory. Another person I haven't seen in, a real hot minute. If they don't score, then we don't lose, all right? Yes, this is true. If the other team doesn't score, they're going to have a hard time winning. Kurt, Bo Booth, the Lions linebacker core has depth and really good. Yeah, the top 6, I mean, let's be honest. They could all start at a lot of teams. When Rodrigo comes back, if you keep them all, that's 7 high-quality linebackers. You got to keep them all for a reason. Just the Lions didn't create many turnovers during the preseason. Even the coaches said so. Yes, they want more turnovers. Miles Mark, grit morning, Anthony. All balls, no D. Alen Rose, what do you got? Man, talk about somebody I haven't seen there. Good morning. Good minute. Good morning, Duke Crew. Hi, Coach Dan. Go Lions. And back at you. How you doing today? Mary Smith, Hookadoo. Here's your grit, and 1 for grit today, grit. All right, Hookadoo. Anthony, top of the morning. Exclamation point. Anthony, top of the morning. Hookadoo. JK, Lions did super, not showing their true offense and defensive cards in the preseason. Yeah, I think they were playing it close to the best. Bo, Kurt, the awakening of the immortal linebackers. There we go. I'll take that. And the immortal linebackers. I see what you did there. 300 reference. Coach Rock, now that Martin's gone, to only give us 300-pound plus guys for the middle of the D, something must be cooking. I agree with that. Kerry, with Martin gone, who's that long-term replacement? We'll find out. String theory. So you're saying not cutting Skipper? I think he'll be back, but if somebody snags and makes him an offer he can't refuse, then maybe he won't be. All balls, grit morning, Miles, Pierce, Kerry, Williams, I think, Leo. My friends keep saying Goff ain't got it, but I remember him messing up in the 23 playoffs. Defensive weapons on offense are going to make the Super Bowl champs. I think we're going to be Super Bowl champs this year. Dre Day, Kerry, Tyreek is a replacement. Might be true. Lions bad guy, Bois. Did this guy just say Martin has potential in the same sentence? That's funny. I think he's got potential, but you got to live up to your potential. That's my opinion. A lot of people have potential, just never do anything with it. Thomas, like I said previously, I do not see any players on the Lions who will be cut. Other teams who would be interested in trading for. Might be accurate. Jennifer, morning all. Dre, Martin was supposed to replace Reader, but they drafted Tyreek for that replacement instead. Yeah, I think they had a clue. Martin just wasn't progressing as much as they wanted. So, you got Tyreek Williams, and he looks to be a big win. Derek, I predict the offensive line is only 65-70% as effective as last year. I mean, about 9 less points a game. Can Z help with that? Maybe he can. Josh, are we going to trade for a player by today morning or afternoon? I think we'll make 2. That's my personal opinion. Been wrong before. Jeremy, why would trade Jennings? Checks out his highlights from New England. He would be a dog in our defense with compliments of Hutch. One pride. Hey, let's see if that holds up water. I don't know if it will happen, but it is one of the reports out there. Southwest, hey, Dan, been a minute. It has been a minute. My biggest concern is the offensive line. I think a lot of us had that same feeling. It just seems like they've taken a step back. How could they not bring Ragnow and Zettler? Zettler just chose to go to Tennessee because he wanted to be close to the family. Ragnow, Frank the Tank, he just wanted to retire. Who knows? Maybe somewhere in the season they'll say, hey, I'll come on back. But his body's been so shredded the last 4 to 5 seasons. I think he just said no mas. He wants to have some sort of quality of life. Remember, he's, just turning 30, and he's had all those injuries. Thomas, with Z, it's all about the cash. If want to come back, then you would need a minimum of 2 weeks to get playing shape. Now, would they be the perfect time to sign and play? We shall see. We'll see if they have him in by the end of the week. JK, God dig it, Daddy Skipper. We'll see if we bring in the Skipper. Dre Day, the line just got younger and stronger. The offensive line will be fine. Yeah, give him some time to develop for sure. Non-Lampers, would Skipper be a free agent and be able to go anywhere he wants? His vet status, I believe he is a free agent. So he is one of the ones that is a free agent. Just time to focus on the Packers. Sad to see Skipper and Kennelly leave, but it is time with 0 on the Packers. 0 in on the Packers, indeed. Thomas Skipper is not picked up. Will be back. I think he'll be back. Moonscar, Skipper is a vested vet. Yeah, 4+ years, becomes a free agent, doesn't go through waivers. Correct, and I do think he'll be back. Let's see, bus driver Brett. Man, another person I haven't seen in a hot second. Morning all, Skipper was cut, not waived. Correct with that. So he doesn't go through the waivers. And, like we already said, he's a vested veteran. Coach Rock, Skipper free to do what he wants. Let's see what he wants. Kerry, still want an offensive guard. We'll see if we get one. Southwest, Dre Day, yes, younger, stronger, okay, but better, I doubt. All right, Lions, bad guy, Lions roster, going to be good. X-Rays, right? And we haven't even started the season. Trade delusion, Lions fans, remember that. All right. Until then, aren't the multiple-year veterans exempt for waivers? Correct. I can sign it where I want. Yes, if you have an X amount of years under your belt, you're basically a free agent. Eddie's Fish, I like wide receiver Patrick. I hope he stays with the Lions. Yeah, sort of like when Tim Patrick got waived by the Denver Broncos instead of traded. They did that so he could sign where he wants. Sign of respect for the man. Buster, the words are always waived or cut. Yes, with that. Woodscar, that's the difference between who gets waived and who gets cut. 4 years of service. Correct with that. Thomas, with Hooker and Martin, that was bad about that. Both could have been solid third rounders. That hurts. It happens. I mean, nobody hits on 100% of their picks. If you want that, you're just expecting the impossible. Until then, like Moonscar said, I'll go with that. JK, Brad hit on more than one miss in the draft. Great job, in your opinion. I think Brad's done a phenomenal job drafting. Doesn't mean you're going to win on every pick, but he hasn't had any major busts like in the first round, second round, etc. Dre Day, I trust the coaching staff to get the all line where they need to be. Me too. Thomas, and we traded 3 picks to move up for Get Martin. I would say get over it, man. Didn't work out. You gave it a try. It happens. But you remember everybody's yelling and screaming about Isaac Tesla. Yeah, that seems to be working out. At least early on, it's looking like it will. Marcus, the 2023 draft didn't work out. Is hilarious. Detroit Lions 23 draft was highly successful, featuring Pro Bowlers Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, and Sam Porter. Correct. I mean, the fact that you got that many quality guys in one draft, I get some of the other picks didn't work, but you know what? How many teams can say they got potentially 4 Pro Bowlers all in one draft? I'll let you guys debate. Southwest Dre Day, I'm a fan. Hope you're right. All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to go through as many as I can, try to get some people on who haven't been on as much. I'm Amber Frida. All right. The Rebels, good morning. Dan and Duke Crew, back at you. Moonscar, hindsight is always 2020, but looking back is still a bit fuzzy. How about that? Thomas, ouch. Hookadoo. Hey, Pierce, so much for the skipper. Woo! We'll see if it's back. Big D, morning crew, late this AM. Yeah, man, a lot of people are this morning. JK, Iffy, and Skipper, silent. Woo! We'll find out. Pierce, Hookadoo, DDI, C, Egon, Gibbs, Campbell, Laporte, and Branch. Not a bad draft that year, by the way. I'll go with that. Man, Terrence, I think Skipper will be back. Talking about somebody I haven't seen. Terrence Coleman, one of the OGs of the chat. Jonathan, good morning. As always, go Lions. Back at you. Larry, law offense wins games, defense wins championship. Come on, Z. We'll see if they get him. Bo, and a Fred is a man bear. All right. Dwayne, all players do not have to clear waivers. Correct. They just players under 4 years of service. Veterans. Correct. Yep, I think you're spot on with that. 1,000%. Thomas, if Meeks comes back, sign Z for sure. We'll see if they do. Brent, Meeks and Sailors will get snatched up, unfortunately. I think, there's a high probability with that. JK, the ship has sailed. Ships do sail, don't they? Carrie, JK, no. Jess, there will be a lot of negative words. Martin and Hooker, now that they are gone, who is the next Pinata? Goff, Davenport will become the fans' #1 punching bags. Maybe. Could be accurate. JK, huh? Jess, Brad Holmes, IR has vacancies. Who's going on it? We'll find out. Josh, any trades going to happen today, morning or afternoon? I think we'll probably get 2. We'll see if I'm correct with that. All right, Dre Day, Amara and Tesla look pretty good to me. I would agree. Southwest Line, Dan, how many teams historically have done better following season who lose their offense coordinator and defense coordinator? I would have to look at the actual math on that all. I think the Lions are going to be pretty good, though. All right, Southwest, in spite of last season, no postseason wins. I still think the top to bottom NFC North is the best division in football. I'll go with that, but yes, they obviously did not play well in the postseason. Lion Dog, Tesla would be great in an option play. Maybe they'll do that. Jonathan, with Meeks being cut, love it will make the team. Might be accurate. Reversion to the mean. Another person I haven't seen in a hot second. Happy due day, coach and crew. Time to get football serious now. The 53 is set. It's getting pretty close, ain't it? Paul, 2023 was more of a win than a loss. Gibbs, Campbell, Laporta, Branch. Yeah, I think we're all agreeing on that today. Joseph, Lions management is the best I've seen. I've been watching since 1973, though. All right, that's wild, man. The Rebel, I'm going to miss the skipper. I hope he's back, my friend. Kerry, if all that is who is the practice squad quarterback, we'll find out who's going to be the practice squad quarterback. Kerry's skipper ain't gone yet. No, we'll see if he comes back. Thomas, I'm not worried about skipper. Not picked up. He'll be back. John, good morning, Duke crew. Back at you. Phil, greetings, salutations, crew, and same to you. Art, Brad is not in the habit of telling the media his plans, so where do they come up with these trade predictions and speculations they read about? Who knows, man? That's I leave that to everybody to individually come up with. Just Bears will pick up Skip. He is good with trick plays that Ben Johnson likes to run. We'll see if they make him an offer. Great Lakes, how are we going to replace offensive weapon in the intro after all? We'll find out. We'll find out indeed. Johnny, I'm still not worried. I like the way you're thinking. There, Rebel Meeks. Wow, yeah, I was not expecting that one, but I was not expecting Skipper, but to a certain degree, some of them do make sense. Johnny L, that was the problem with everybody? Question mark, we will be just fine. I like the way you're thinking. Jennifer, sad day, families and players release. I know it is business, but yeah, you still feel bad for them, don't you, Jennifer? Dynasty Lions, Meeks will get plucked. I think so. Kerry, have a good day, right, Johnny L? Well, have a great one, everybody. Art, the year the Lions went 0-16. They were 4-0 in the preseason. Too true, my friend. Too true. Mary, have a good one. See you in the morning. We'll see you both then. Hookadoo. Talk to you tomorrow, Johnny L. All right, Mary, I thought it was Shador Sanders. Yes, from Tampa Bay, got released. Dynasty skipper to practice squad, then he would get lifted. Standard protocol. Yeah, he seems to do that a lot. Jacob, skipper, it was a journeyman and novelty item at best. What is all the crying about? Oh, I forgot you like him. He's supposed to be on the team. Yeah, sometimes just because you like him doesn't mean they're on the team. Donkey Kong, actual Pascal is a rough one, and Levi, really? Lions bad guy trade deadline. Lions are to forget about the midseason, so final roster upgrades are months away. Maybe. I'll find out. But hey, stuff happens. Bo, happy trails, Duke crew. Move, more to come. See you later. We'll see you then, my friend, as the news hits. Jess, how long will it take for the starters to gel on offense and defense? With new players, the offensive line could be ugly for a few games. We'll see how long it takes. You do have some younger players on that line. John, good morning. Big fan of the show. Hey, glad to have you here, John. Welcome to the Duke crew. Mary, everyone have a blessed day. See you tomorrow. We'll see you then, Mary. Dennis, X back. We'll back with that. Z back. How about that, Dennis? Hookadoo. Happy trails, Duke crew, One Prime Worldwide. Thanks for the grip. Mary, I needed it. Hey, glad you all help each other out. Bad guy, Lions, players make coordinators, not the other way around. We'll find out. Kerry, happy trails, stay safe. Come the rest of the cuts. See you tomorrow. We'll have the rest of the cuts later today. Mosmar, One Pride. All right, guys, as the news breaks later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. Be a good human being. Do something for someone you don't know. And we'll see you guys on the soon to come next edition of Lions Talk Live. You know what's coming today. You're still here? What are you doing here? It's over. The show's over. Go home.